Well, hello there, and welcome back to Gene and Roger Talk Movies. No Gene this week because, for reasons I don't understand, he's on like some 800-mile bicycle ride through the Oregon coast. But the benefit of him doing that is we can do a movie that he didn't want to do anyway. So I've got Tykan here with me, and then, of course, Bella is back with us after you've missed quite a few episodes. It's been a while since we've had you on, but we're talking about Evil Dead Rise, which just came out to theaters, I think April 15th of this year, 2023. It's available on streaming now. Let's jump right in. Tykan, what are your initial thoughts on Evil Dead Rise?
I never watched an Evil Dead movie before.
Oh my gosh.
Just the disclaimer here.
Well,
this is literally my first Evil Dead movie.
I don't know if you can be on this podcast.
I don't think I deserve to be on this podcast. If it wasn't for that spiritual journey Gene is making right now, I probably even wouldn't be here and probably would have not even watched Evil Dead Rise. So basically Evil Dead was always on my list of movies to watch. It just never happened. But, I wasn't really aware what I was getting into. I knew it was going to be gory. I know there's a guy named Ash that likes a chainsaw, which is not in this movie.
Right.
A couple of Easter eggs, though, at the end.
Well, throughout the film, there's Easter eggs if you've seen the other movies. Callbacks, anyway.
Right. So I got a very good understanding what this movie is going to be about once a scalping happened. Didn't see that coming. That was great. I got to give kudos to that character being able to stay conscious after a scalping like that, to walk all the way to the pier. Hey, I lost half of my hair and my head, but there's something going on. You should watch out for that.
Right.
I think that at the very beginning really kind of set the tone of what the movie's going to be.
Yep.
And after that, I feel like it kind of lost its marks in a lot of way.
Okay, well, Bella, where are you at with this movie?
I thought it was all right. I watched the first Evil Dead remake in the 2013 one. I had pretty high expectations for it since watching that one. I gotta say, it let me down just a little bit.
Oh, no. Well, we don't ever want to let Bella down at all.
Never.
But one of the things that I'm really excited about having you on the show is this movie seemed to me to be very much focused on like a matriarchal family unit, right? And I found it interesting how the mother who is set up she really cares about her 3 children, right? And then her sister comes by, and there's some tension there between the mother and her sister. But do you have any insight as to how were you feeling about that casting choice or the story choice where it's really this matriarchal family unit going on and kind of some of the troubles they're facing? Obviously, the building they're in is condemned and going to be torn down. So there's some struggle as can we even find a new place to live? But then the demons possess that mother right away. Where were you at with that?
Well, I don't know. So I have this thing that it's like if any of my family gets possessed or turns into a zombie, I would just totally let them kill me because there is no way I could kill them or watch them, be in that sort of, yeah. But I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I really thought for an Evil Dead movie, I thought this was really a unique way to do this, with the mother being the primary character and then the primary possessed person at the beginning. But Tykan, the thing that really, I'm not going to say bothers me about this movie, but the risk these directors and producers took, because there's a little girl in this movie. I don't even know. Bella, any idea how old this girl is? 6, 7?
Yeah,
I would say about 7.
Little tiny girl. And, horror movies, right, it's all about putting people in peril, and there's plenty of examples of young little children getting, poltergeist, she's in peril. But it's never this extreme. There's 2 sequences in particular where that girl she's got her possessed mother's hand around her neck trying to rip her through an open door. And then a really extreme sequence at the end when that now mutated into something else mother is holding that chainsaw up to her neck saying, I just want your head. How are you feeling about I felt like, wow, you guys are right on the edge of just like, this is
breaking
inappropriate.
the rules. Well, they already broke the rules. So there was a little boy, I can't find his name over here, but he got his arms ripped off, and he was about 10. So and my thought is, wow, they're really going at this right now. They're going to kill the children. What a bold and new brave horizon they have.
But I think with the male character, and he's the only real male character, or he is the male character in the family, and he's a young boy. So there's like an older daughter, and then
but that's
him,
not good.
And then the younger daughter. But I think it was interesting that the reason this whole thing started is because the
Dan,
boy, right? And the women, and even the older daughter had said to him,
don't do it.
Yeah, you shouldn't be messing with this book.
Mm-hmm.
But he did it anyway. And then so when he's getting massacred.
Well, I expected that to happen.
Yeah, I'm not holding the movie as responsible because, no, he's the cause of the whole thing. So we know you're going to have trouble. But this little tiny girl who even has dialogue in there where she's talking to the sister who is now trying to save everybody. Yeah, thanks for lying to me. You'll be a good
mother.
Yeah, you'll be a good mom because you lie really well. Because the mom, she had said, "Are you going to save us?" And like, "Oh, of course I will." And blah blah blah. I mean, where were you at with that? What I am calling over the top extreme torment of a small child.
No, I'm right there with you. The whole time I was thinking like, if she was my little sister, I'd have her in the bathroom, like, cover her ears, cover her eyes. And just let the older people deal with it because...
A.K.A. die.
I mean, if she does make it through, she's going to be severely traumatized. And she doesn't have to be there. Like, when she opened the door, I'm like, why are you left unsupervised,
Yeah, and they're... you're left unsupervised because we need that in the storyline, right, to have the little girl. But
I think there's really something that comes down to shock, too, which there is a reality is... Look, I mean, we could talk about, I wouldn't do this or that, but when you're in that kind of situation, there's that shock factor that, I feel like that's very realistic at that situation. I know that if I was probably in that situation, I wouldn't be thinking straight either if a demon was trying to barge down my door.
Right. The movie does a pretty good job of, because they're on the 14th floor of this apartment, the top floor of this apartment complex, and they make a point to point out that, the stairwell has collapsed and the elevator's broken.
How does no one ever hear this?
And right, that's the other thing, because they even set it up where really the only people left in that apartment complex are the two neighbor people. And then obviously there's one other neighbor that somehow didn't hear any of this stuff because she's the one.
Well, she's on the lower floors.
Yeah, but it's they do a pretty good job because really the first thought would be, well, just leave the house, leave the building, but you can't. They broke, the stairs are broken, the elevator doesn't work. All this stuff. There's
a lot of things in this movie where I really had to test my suspension of disbelief. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big person when it comes to kind of power scaling monsters. And there's a lot about it that I don't. So when the mom is trying to get back into the apartment, she obviously has supernatural strength and is able to easily rip off arms and gorge out eyeballs, whatever, right? But you can't tell me that she can't open a door by force. There's no way she doesn't have enough strength to do that.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I was thinking too.
It's like there's a huge part. It's like, no, there's no way. This is just this is plot armor at this point.
Well, I was looking at it more as part of because they're called Deadites, right? I mean, Bella, you know that from the original Evil Dead. But they're called Deadites, and I think part of their game is just the escalation of terror and fear.
Oh, so it's on
right?
purpose.
And so it is because the mother knew when she was on the outside of the door and is just banging her head on the door, that she had already infected that older daughter. And the older daughter was in there and was going to change. And so it wasn't so much about getting in there, it's about ratcheting up that fear and almost like feeding off of that fear on some level. So,
okay, that's very smart.
I give him a pass on that. I mean, your interpretation of it may be absolutely correct, but my experience with the Evil Dead movies is they are really about, I want to torment you. And
okay,
really,
so that makes, I can give that a pass now. Mm-hmm. If that's the fact is that she is just waiting for sister to turn, which I gotta say, out of all of them, I think Sister got the worst of it all. I gotta be frank, Danny was the one that brought this hell upon everyone. I think he actually got off easy in comparison to everyone else. I mean, I guess you can say, well, he had to experience the guilt of turning everyone into horrendous monsters, which is true. There's that mental torment. But if we're talking about the physical torment side, he got off the easiest.
Yeah, he does get a blade jammed through his arm a couple times, which was pretty brutal.
Sure, I mean, it's brutal, but Sister was like...
Well, I know, and then they do that whole sequence with she's vomiting blood all over his face, which is a direct callback to Evil Dead, the originals. I think it's Evil Dead 2, actually, where that was going on, or maybe the first one, where Bruce Campbell's character was just getting drenched in blood. Do you remember that?
Mm-mm.
And so, well, okay, sorry, Bella.
No.
But yeah, and so there was callbacks like that to the original Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, when she's holding the shotgun up at the mutant creation at the end and she's like, come get some. That's from Army of Darkness. And the camera movement at the beginning when it's moving up towards the dock, that's from Evil Dead.
Okay.
And just the Dead by Dawn line that they kept stating there, that's from Evil Dead 2 as well. So I did appreciate a lot of the callbacks to the other films, but I still go back to, Bella, what did you think about when the older sister grabbed the cheese grater and ripped it down the other sister's leg?
That's not mozzarella.
That was like one of my favorite parts. I was like, yes. I saw the cheese grater and I'm like, oh my god, I hope that she uses it.
Wait, is that a callback from another movie?
No, that's just the spirit of Evil Dead, where we're going to do something really nasty, like run this cheese grater along your exposed calf.
Yep.
The Italians are crying right now.
Oh my god, it was great. I mean, horrifying, right? It's a horror movie, but great if you're a horror film fan, because, yeah, that was some serious pain being inflicted right there. And it was interesting how that sister had to go through so much torment in order to come out on the other side, right? She gets stabbed by a piece of glass through her hand.
But does she still have like the glass stab wound?
Well, yeah,
throughout
because
the movie.
Yeah, because she
Like I didn't even. Oh, she did wrap it up.
She wraps it up with like
Okay, so
duct
they
tape
are-
or something, and
That's true.
and that's like in the original Evil Dead, Bruce Campbell's character gets his hand cut off, and so he ends up wrapping it up and putting a chainsaw on that stump and stuff, and so it was kind of callbacks a little bit to that, and I just thought this movie. When I'm talking R-rated movies, right? Okay, I expect a certain level of stuff. This one I'm actually surprised escaped with an R rating.
That's true.
Because it's pretty brutal, and just the torment done to that little girl. I appreciate the ratings board for just going, we'll just give it an R. But I think in 1980, this would have been, no one.
It would have been a TVMA. It would have been a TVA.
NC-17 for sure, or
Right.
you're going to make substantial cuts.
No, I honestly I thought the prosthetic and the practical effects are really well done. Especially when it comes to the transformation of the mutant monster.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was amazing, especially when they're following what the book tells you. It's like if you pay attention to what the book drawings are happening, you kind of see what's going to happen next. It kind of shows you like the next sequence of events.
Yeah.
This is definitely a very hard push for the rated R. I could see, because if it was TVMA, right, it would have not gone to theaters. That's just a fact. And, we obviously can tell that they're not going to hold any punches. And I go back to when the little boy's arms got ripped off. And I'm like, oh, wow, they're killing children. Well, here we are. Let's go, guys.
Well, and I mean, there's some movies out there that's kind of their point, is to kill children. Have you ever seen the movie The Children?
I've seen The Children before.
Right, the one where they have to, the only way to stop the children is
by
to cut
killing.
their hands,
Yeah.
to cut their hands off.
It's just so ridiculous. But
So we've seen movies where children are killed. This is the first one where they put that little girl through so much torment.
But she actually didn't get any, so she had a lot of psychological and mental torment. But as far as in the grand scheme of things, everyone that got diced in bits, she did not get diced in bits. She almost got diced in bits. And I gotta say, it was really cool that when she had a chainsaw to her head, she actually prepared herself to get killed. If you know she kind of closed her eyes and didn't even make a sound because she was like, yeah, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
She was fully expecting to be done. It was just do it.
I think the one part where the little girl, because the possessed mother has already had her arm cut off, her leg cut off, she's trying to create this super monster, right? Because the whole point is she's going to get the older sister who's now already been possessed and then the brother who's already possessed, and they're going to form like this Power Rangers kind of monster.
This is what the Megazord is
yeah,
about.
Right, exactly. And then she's trying to convince the little girl to come over, and the little girl says, you know what, you're not my mother anymore. And so there was like, okay, maybe she is going to come through this trauma.
No,
I don't know.
There's
Bella,
no coming through this.
What are you thinking, Bella?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. It makes me wonder that, like, did they not, like, try to kill her on purpose? Or, like, they did try to kill her, but, like, her hands didn't get cut off, her legs didn't get cut off. Like, was that on purpose?
Are we talking about the mom?
No, the little girl.
Like, why didn't she get cut off?
Mm-hmm.
Because they didn't have the chance to cut off her head. All right, so are we asking you where she would be a part of that mutant monster body?
No, just, like, in general, like, why... Like, you're saying psychologically, she's psychologically damaged.
Oh, yeah,
but
forever.
not physically damaged. You
Right.
think that was done on purpose?
I think that if I were the director and I thought to myself, yeah, let's cut off this little girl's hand, I mean, there would be... I would guarantee you that critics would probably not like that. I think they would actually be really upset about it.
I think you would be getting into NC-17 territory.
Yeah.
I'm really saying the amount of torment they put this small child through is different than what you normally would see.
Absolutely.
And I think actually killing the child, that's a huge risk to take.
Too big.
And I think it is.
It's too
I
big.
really do, for this particular movie, where it was at in that point, right, where they're coming down to create this super monster and the little girl's still there. Man, had they somehow gotten her, and even after that sequence when she says, you're not my mother anymore, well, you still have the whole I'm holding a roaring chainsaw up to your neck scene. And it was surprising to me that the directors would go in that fashion. But who are the producers? Sam Raimi, Robert Tappert, and Bruce Campbell. So they're used to this kind of stuff, and it was like, well, maybe we just want to push it a little bit more to the edge. But I really think you're really close to being in, like, bad taste, like, shouldn't have done that. But at the end of the day, I really did enjoy this movie. I watched it twice, and I think it moves right along. It's only 97 minutes long, and it starts with that opening that Tykan was talking about that has nothing else to do with the rest of the movie, really, except to be a bookend with what's going on.
That was surprising to me.
And then it jumps into the issue with the mom. It spends just enough time to where you understand that this is a loving family. There's a great scene where they're kind of messing around with the little girl and tickling her or whatever, because she was doing whatever she was doing to get them riled up and all this. And so you buy into that this is a good family unit. And then, well, there's a little earthquake. By the way, we found the Book of the Dead. Let's open it.
I'm so
and
mad
roll.
at Dan. I really am. You know, the problem with this is that for Dan to do this, even if it was his teenage curiosity, right, you have to be really stupid. I mean, look, you go to a bank vault, you raid the bank vault, there's a leather book that literally looks like there's veins popping out of it with teeth and records from a priest from 1920. I mean, I'm sorry. He kind of got what he deserved.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, when I saw him pick up the book and even go down into the hole, I was thinking, like, he does not watch enough scary movies
He does
to
not
know
watch enough
better
scary movie.
than to not go down there at night alone in the dark.
After an earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not watch The Thing, bro?
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, the thing I liked about the book, though, is when I saw the book and how it's designed and the way it's closed, I thought of a Venus flytrap.
That's actually really true.
Yeah.
That's a very good observation.
Because it didn't open, because he gets cut on it and he drips a little blood on there.
Idiot.
And then the Venus flytrap looking thing opens up and says, oh, yeah, come on in, check out my book.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
that's when all hell breaks loose.
I think of all the characters, I actively dislike Dan the most. I actively do. He is just... I mean, he may be hipster with his records, and not that I can really say anything anymore, but no.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the sister was right. Looks like a very bad book. Don't open it. Oh, I'm just gonna go open it. Take a little peek. Oh well, the hell's literally in this book. This is gonna be terrible.
Yeah, and they don't refer to it as the Necronomicon in this movie, unlike other Evil Dead movies. They do call it the Book of the Dead, which is also used in other Evil Dead movies. So I thought that was interesting that they didn't actually use the Necronomicon title. But Bella, were you scared at all, or was this more of a it's just gross?
I did think it was gross. I didn't think it was that scary, but, when at night in the dark, I'm, thinking of that girl's face, the monster, the mom, when she was in that peephole, and how she was just smiling and, staring. That's, one of my worst fears ever. I'm like, oh, my gosh, I'm totally, looking behind my back, making sure that...
Do you have a peephole in your door at your
No.
house? Okay.
Heck no.
Then you don't have to worry about it.
Oh, thank goodness.
Tykan, were you at all scared, or is this more of just a gross movie than a scary movie?
I don't think it's that scary a movie.
Yeah.
I was expecting to be scarier, and maybe that's why I was a little bit let down, because it's not. Again, I think the gore is really well done. I think it's very tasteful.
Yeah,
But
I think for a horror movie,
yeah.
a gore movie, it's definitely a good one. Tykan, would you recommend our listeners, I want to say viewers, but there are listeners, to maybe check this one out?
Oh, okay. So this is hard. So I would say if I was an avid fan of Evil Dead and I had all this knowledge of the background of the lore and seeing all these callbacks, I would say, yeah, this is actually a really good Evil Dead movie. You should go watch it. But because I'm more in the cast of a general audience, I'm glad I didn't see it in theaters. I would have probably not spent my money to watch it. That, and, well, Megan wouldn't want to watch it either.
Right.
But, since it's free and it's on Max, then if you have a time to kill, why not? I feel like if it had more time to, and I guess this is kind of a scary movie instead to make it longer than 90 minutes, but when it came to, the matriarchy and motherhood, I feel like there was a lot of themes that they tried to tap into and explore, but they just didn't have enough time to cook it in the oven. And because of that, I didn't care as much as I could have. And that's where I feel like it really falls flat. Because if you're going to make it all about this relationship between the mom and the kids and sisterhood, you really need to build up some more time for me to like these characters. And especially since I actively dislike one of the characters, it doesn't add points in my scale.
Bella, what is your final recommendation on this movie?
I would recommend it. I'd say I would rather go see it in theaters rather than my house.
No peoples.
Yeah. It's louder, it's dark. I don't know, just the setting I think would be better than, my bright, quiet house.
Right, yeah. And as somebody who's seen all the Evil Dead movies and all that stuff, I did think this is a good companion piece to those movies. It was interesting, Tykan, to hear your viewpoint as somebody who has not seen the original series at all. It's well taken, for sure. I mean, Evil Dead is a kind of a unique experience, and they're going to pile on the gore and sometimes the comedy, the dark comedy. There's a sequence in this one, of course, which is a callback to Evil Dead 2, where mom bites a guy's eyeball out and then spits it out.
Oh, that was good.
And, of course, it
That was
goes
really
into
good.
someone else's mouth. So you have weird stuff like that happens as well, along with copious amounts of gru and blood and all this craziness. So definitely would recommend checking it out. It's, my opinion, a lot of fun. It moves fast. Tykan's issues with not developing the characters well enough.
It's pacing.
It's a horror movie. Come on, get to it. Let's make it happen, right? And so definitely check it out. Bella, thank you so much for coming on. Tykan, again, always nice to have you on as well. And I really appreciate when Gene goes away, because we can do movies that he doesn't want to do.
Have fun on your spiritual journey,
This
Gene.
was another one. Next week, however, we are doing David Cronenberg's Videodrome for our 50th episode, and we're having director Scott Eggleston back because he wants to talk about that with us. So check us out for that, and we'll see you the next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.